What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 4th day of September, and here we are, sitting at about $112,000, 22 hours, 57 minutes left in the day. We had a little bit of a move up yesterday, all the way up to about 100 and what was it? Come on now, 112.5K. That could have been it. I wouldn't be surprised if we pushed a little bit higher first before going lower, but that really could have been it. If we put a line right here, I still do think that we're going lower. I don't believe that we found our low yet, but I can definitely be wrong on that. We found resistance essentially right here where we found support before, and right above where we found resistance there, a little bit where we found resistance here on a daily closing basis. So it would make sense that we come down. But let's look at the short-term stuff and see if we can derive more information based on that. You know, I do want to look at some of the liquidation levels as well, looking at the past 24 hours. I want to look at Bitcoin and Ethereum just to get a general idea on the markets. We'll do the 7-day and the 1-day. Yeah, still outweighing a lot. A lot of that gets cleared out whenever we're below 106K. So Ethereum, number 2. Okay, more shorts on Ethereum. That's good to see over the week. Yeah, over the past 24 hours, yeah, maybe a little bit. We can still come down to like 4,200. That wouldn't be too crazy, right? Bitcoin drops to like 106K. Ethereum's at 4,200, giving a higher low. Some people are calling for Ethereum to go below 4,000, and I don't see that happening. But this video is more about Bitcoin, not so much Ethereum. I mean, we could look at Ethereum maybe, but I want to talk about Bitcoin first. Okay, that's probably what the title is. So I want to keep that true to the viewers for the viewers' sake here. Anyways, 1 hour time frame, $112,000 right now. Nice little 1 hour that we just had to close the day there. Honestly, not a whole lot of volume. You did get volume here on this move up, but not a whole lot of volume afterwards, and that's okay. You don't really need it. It'd be nice to persist, but you're doing these little kind of baby step maneuvers, and it's working out for you so far, so I don't have any problems with it. The 1 hour RSI still is in a bullish posturing overall. You're just not getting overbought. The fact that you're getting oversold so deeply, and you've had all these opportunities, man, to get overbought, and you're just not taking it. It's a bit odd. You're either getting set for a fantastic move up, or you're about to rip to the downside, right? Whenever you take good opportunities and you tarnish them, I mean, I don't know, man. You've got higher lows here, and it's kind of like you've broken out of that range already. Maybe there's a reckoning coming. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we moved higher before moving lower, but I do still think we're moving lower. Looking at the stochastics, right at an area to bounce as well. I don't know if we do, though. The MACD is crossed red. Not that that really matters. Overall, you're bullish, but you do have bearish divergence on your histogram and on your oscillators. You have higher highs in the price and lower highs in the indicator there. Let's look at the 4 hour time frame. I want to see where you are based on these fibs here. From a high to a low, you're above your 236. It's kind of weird, right? Like, I would think that you go up to your 382 at about 113.6K, but you don't need to do that. I mean, here you did this exact same thing, right? And again, I've said this before. Whenever we're at the bottom coming up, let me just put it in perspective, from the low here to the high, it's very common when you go below your 236 to hit that 382. But this cycle, I've really learned that, and most of the time you do. Most of the time, no matter what you do, the 382, when you go below that far below the 236, you don't expect to come back up until you hit the 382, right? That's the thing. This kind of reaction, of course, it leads to lower prices, but that's not the point, right? You get below the 236 like this, you're going to touch the 382 whenever it's from a low to a high. But I've noticed from high to a low, it's a lot more common to miss that 382. I've noticed that for whatever reason. I don't have any logic behind that, right? Maybe there's just too much selling pressure, not enough buying pressure. I don't have any logic that helps dictate why that is. You know, maybe negative moves are a little bit more powerful than positive moves. I don't know. But for some reason, this thought that I've had for a long time when applying my fib analysis to the TA that I do, which is that whenever you get above the 236 like this, you don't go lower until you hit the 382. That's been proven wrong a few times. And the times that it is proven wrong, even more than a few times, is whenever we're coming from the top down, not from the bottom up. I don't know if that makes sense. Or maybe the bottom up in price, but the top down in the fibs. All I'm trying to say, my friends, is while generally and historically throughout my own analysis, I would expect we go to the 382 or even higher before turning around here, I'm more accepting of the idea that that's it, that's all we see, right? That's all she wrote, and we're going to move down, because here, looking at that for resistance, you know, prior support, that's enough. Looking at the price action for what it is, you take away the fibs, it's pretty simple. It doesn't need to be more complicated. Looking at the RSI here in the 4-hour time frame, I mean, we are right at the areas that we've rejected the last few times before going to the oversold zone. Overall, it's a pretty volatile RSI, but definitely leaning to the bearish effect, I would say. Why is it leaning to the bearish effect? Just generally speaking, since August 1st, we've had more interactions, significantly more interactions with the oversold zone, and we've lived, if we just draw, you know, since August 1st here. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Although that probably would have worked as well. But if we draw a box here, right, a nice box, how much of this is spent above the 50, how much of it's spent below the 50? Most of the time, especially recently, has been below the 50, right? When you're getting oversold, you're getting more and more oversold here. You got overbought. That's a nice reading there, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't persistent. It wasn't persistent, and it didn't last long. Let's see if it does. You know, it might be too early to say that you're finding resistance here right now. Let's see what you do here. Do you find support at the 60 area, the 50 area, something like that, and then come back into the overbought zone? That'd be bullish. Do you just drop down below the 50 like you did these other couple of times? I mean, that might imply the bearish effect is underway. The stochastics are bullish at the moment on the 4-hour, pointed downwards though, with the blue underneath the orange, and the orange pointed down here. Yes, the blue's pointed up for now, but there's 2 hours 52 minutes left in this 4-hour candle, and it's already got a bigger wick than it does a body on it. Oh man, and you've got the I don't know what to call it. I want to call it an abandoned baby, but technically that's not it. An abandoned baby needs a gap. You guys know what I'm talking about with an abandoned baby? Let me show you, right? Okay, hold on. If I type it in here, would that work? Abandoned baby pattern. Here we go. Yeah. This right here, right? Can I zoom it in for you? Right? You get a solid body, a spinning top, and then a bullish body, but there's gaps, right? You see the gaps. That's why it's the abandoned baby, because it's like you leave it behind, and it's kind of sad, but that's the name of the pattern, right? This here, you don't get gaps so often in crypto, especially not on Binance or Coinbase, because it's 24/7, right? There's no overlap there, or there's constant overlap. I don't know what the proper word would be, but there's no chance for it to gap. So you get the solid body up, you get the spinning top, and then you get the solid body down. That's a bearish implication normally. I want to see if I can find another example. We've pointed these out. They've been happening here or there. That's kind of one right there, kind of. Not a perfect example, but kind of. This is one right here, yeah. You've got a 2-part pattern there, like a solid body there. Maybe on an 8-hour candle it would look more appropriate, but that right there, and it had some bearish implications. I don't know. It looks bearish to me is all I'm trying to say as far as the pattern goes. Bearish divergence on the on the histogram on the MACD here. No bearish divergence on the stochastics, but you have been overbought for quite some time, and all you have is a lower high to show for it. That's kind of sad. It is kind of sad. And if we're looking at the 4-hour, your volume is dying off. We're on the BTC USDT pair on 4-hour time frame. That would make me think we go lower. Yeah, lower we go. Right? This was enough where back here we had more shorts than longs. Now we're at the same price, and we have more longs than shorts for Bitcoin over the past week and for the past 24 hours. They outweigh the shorts tremendously, right? So go down, clear out all these longs, crush them, decimate them, capitulate them, make them wish they never leverage traded to begin with. I'm sorry for all my friends going long, man. You know, maybe if your liquidation levels are below 100,000, maybe you'll be safe, but you're going to be cutting it close nonetheless. 111.9K now. Let's look at the daily time frame before we pop out to the weekly. I mean, we're right here at this area where we could find resistance. Again, I stand by it, man, right? Different reaction. It's a totally different reaction in this area than we've had. We're at the area that we've been finding support, but the support's not supporting, right? It's more like clinging on for dear life at this point in time and doing all it can to prevent us from going lower. We still have lower lows and lower highs with this weird little intervention in between, but I would think that we go to the oversold zone. And with that would come a lower low. And with that might come our golden ratio extension from a low to a high here, down at about $105,000. I could see us going just below $105,000. We go below $105,000, you guys, on a weekly time frame. That clears out this whole island of longs, right? It clears them all out. And we might even go a little bit lower than that. It's actually very common for Bitcoin to wick a little bit through its golden ratio on the extensions. And even on the, that's why we have it as a zone here. It's not just the 618, it's the 618 to the 69, because it's very common to wick through it. You look deconstructive too. If we look at the fibs for what they're worth, right? You found support at the golden ratio, found resistance at the 0.5, came down, found support at the 100, found resistance at the golden ratio, came down, found support at the 1272, found resistance at the 886, very common to do. Found support at the 1414, stair-stepping your way down each time, and now resistance at the 100. Going lower, the next target is the 1618. And I would think we would have, I mean, man, people are emotional. People are very emotional. I would think because back here, the sky was falling, world was ending. People are optimistic now. We haven't really done much. We still have lower highs. We haven't done much at all. Even if we take out this high, I'm not impressed. By the way, I wanted, before we get any further in this video, I want to say, if we see prices above 113K or even above 114K, don't be impressed, okay? We could turn around from there. We don't have to. That does not mean that the low is in. We're waiting for 116K, 117.7K. I think 116.6K would do it for me, honestly. Getting above this high, getting above that daily closing high, is what we need to see to validate that this is the low. Until then, don't be impressed, or don't be surprised if we go lower. But the golden ratio, golden extension, that would be perfect. Did we do that back here? Right there, wicked right through it, right? Perfect, right? Low to high here. Right through it, guys. Yeah, perfect. 2 out of 2. What about 3 out of 3? Maybe. You know, we get the overall divot here, which is what we're doing here in all fairness. And that one didn't even hit the 1272, but it's a bit of a different dynamic now because we have hit the 1414 here. So, yeah, where that was a fake out, I think this is more of a persistent breakout down. We're going to go to 104.8K. And then after that, I'm assuming everybody's going to be calling for 100K to break. We'll probably move up a little bit. We'll dilly-dally going into that Fed meeting, have another drop, get a higher low. The drop is going to make people think, this is it, we're going below 100K. The interest rate cuts are going to make the markets drop. And then after the rate cuts are announced, we start to move up. What's going on? What we're going to sell the news at some point. There's going to be bearish news. I bet there's going to be all kinds of bearish news that week of the FOMC meeting for crypto, and it's going to be at the low, right? I think that we'll have our low here over the coming days, maybe by the end of this week, which is on Sunday the 7th, if not sometime next week between the 8th and the 14th. I think we will have our low by then. We could keep moving down. If we do move lower, 101.8K to 100K is very possible. I very much do doubt that we break below 100K, but anything's possible. You never know. We do have a couple CME gaps. The other thing too, guys, that I want to address, because I don't believe in the CME gaps. I do and I don't. Okay, let me. Was that the right one? I just typed in Bitcoin future. That's not what I meant to do. BTCF. No, that's not what I meant to do. Let's do this. Bitcoin futures. CME. There we go. Yeah, I don't want this one. Whatever this is. Bitcoin future. Bitcoin's future is not there. I mean, maybe. You never know, right? But probably not. We look at this on a daily time frame here. What I don't believe about the CME gap is that every gap to the downside, so every gap up, I don't want to be confusing with the terminology, but when you gap up, it's when you leave a gap behind to the downside, right? You're gapping up, so you're moving up. There's a gap to the downside. That's a gap up. Every gap up does not need to fill. In fact, we have gaps from this cycle that have not filled that are well below 70K. We have gaps from last cycle that have not filled that are well below 30K. We have gaps to the upside, right? Gap downs. And gap downs, the gaps to the upside, they always fill. Always. Those ones are 100% guaranteed to fill. They always do. And if this is a bear market, which it's not, 116.8K, which we need to get above 116.6K in order to validate whatever low that we have, right? Get above that high there on a daily closing basis. That's what it takes for this gap to be filled. So we're going to have to get up there. That kind of momentum will send us to new all-time highs. We're definitely not in a bear market by any means, you guys. But I wouldn't be surprised if we went a little bit. Sorry, I'm getting all choked out. I don't know what that is. I got like something in my throat. We'll probably go a little bit lower and then come back up and fill this gap, right? And continue to proceed higher. But I do think that we have a little bit lower to go, is all I'm trying to say. The main reason I'm bringing this out is for anybody who thinks that we're going to go below 100K, I doubt we're going to make that kind of trek without filling this gap first. And if we fill this gap, that actually validates this area as a low. So lower we go, bouncy, bouncy. Once we get above 116.6K, it's time to rip to new all-time highs. I don't know how else to put it. So yeah, that's all I really got to say. Weekly time frame right now looks good, which kind of scares me because we'll probably at 3 days, 23 hours left, we'll probably come back down, leave a big wick behind on this week. Yeah, the time to find support in this area is gone. We're going to probably find support at the next area, which is over here, right below 105K. Right there, you guys, right at the golden ratio. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Very, very bullish on Bitcoin in the long term and in the even in the intermediate term, the midterm, between now and the end of the year, and even going into 2026, it's going to be fantastic. But between now and the next couple weeks, I wouldn't say it's an absolute bloodbath, but it's going to be volatile to the downside. And we're getting a little bit of volatility to the upside right now. To the downside we go. Take care. Ta-ta. Bye-bye. See you on the next one. Hit the like button. Peace.